Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So today I'm just going to geek out on the Land Cruiser a little bit. So for those of you stopping by for the first time, this is puppy dog feature. Hey buddy. Hey buddy. Okay, for those of you stopping by for a little too far out, stopping by for the first time, this is a 2021 Toyota Land Cruiser Heritage Edition. And as you can see, if you're familiar with Toyota colors, this is that magnetic gray metallic. And although this was never my favorite color, and admittedly it still is not, I do love the fact that it is much more limited. It turns out they only offered 100 in this particular color for the Heritage Edition, and only in 2021, as it was not an option in 2020 for the Heritage. And then another 100 are for the Classic Silver, if I'm tracking correctly, and then the rest, 500, are split between Blizzard Pearl and the Midnight Black Metallic. So 1,200 total for 2021, and then 1,200 total for 2020, and that's it. So 2,400 total. But yeah, so this is really the most simplistic my Land Cruisers have ever looked, right? I mean, at least for any extended amount of time anyway, right? So I do not have any rock sliders on it, which I'm normally pretty quick to slap some on. Previously, I went through Built, and I thought they had a phenomenal rock slider. And even before that, in my 2020, my black one, I had the Sleet Off-Road rock sliders, the LX 570 step style sliders, which between those two, I would highly recommend Built between those two for sure. Yeah, customer service was way better with them compared to Sleet Off-Road in my personal experience. So that, I'm normally quick to do that. However, I love the look without it. You guys tell me what you think. I think if there's any vehicle where less is more, it is absolutely the Land Cruiser. Granted, I do think they look good when they're done up and they got the roof racks and all that stuff. I do think they look good. When people start slapping those giant ARB bumpers on it, that's when I start thinking you're kind of taken away from what it is, in my personal opinion, at least from a cosmetic standpoint. But at any rate, I just wanted to show you guys it, as I'll likely have some sliders on it soon enough, and as well as a roof rack. I'll probably end up going through Westcott Designs this time around. So I'm still up in the air on that one a little bit, but that's the direction we're heading. But let me know what your thoughts are. I think, by having all that clearance, this looks great, especially when you have, as you guys know, I purchased it and it had a front leveling kit on it already. So I already had that on it, brought it up 1.5 inches up front, and you might be looking at it right now and be thinking, wait, what? It looks like it still has quite a bit of rake up front, and it does. It still does, dip down a little bit in the front, but this is a lot better. If you look at my old videos of my previous 21, or of course the 2020, you'll see that there is a pretty tiny gap up front compared to the rear. The rear it's just really high on the Heritage Edition, but especially in the stock form, it has a tremendous amount of dip. But yeah, I love the simplicity of this look, although it won't be sticking around for too much longer. I tell you what, just having this and also having a 4Runner. Every time I open up that door, I mentioned it before, but I mean it, you feel instantly where your money went. You feel it as soon as you open the door. Granted, it's not super modern or super updated in here. We get it. This is old platform, the 200 series. But as far as the actual materials go, it really is second to none. And after every time I've sold them in the past, you quickly miss it. And there's an old saying, not old saying, but I mean anybody who has owned a Land Cruiser, it tends to be the last vehicle that they ever own, because they buy it, they love it, they fall in love with it, and they realize how reliable it is. It's a vehicle you can easily keep around for 500,000 miles. Raise a family in. Exhibit A. So this, in theory, really is the best vehicle to buy and actually keep around for a while. And I do love that idea. Am I going to do it? Am I going to promise to that? Absolutely not. You guys know me at this point. However, there still is a chance, and definitely keeping it much longer than my previous ones. So even just on the handles here, so what I mean by when you open up the door is so much heavier, right? So when you actually open it up, you feel the weight of it, especially compared to the 4Runner over there. The 4Runner is super flimsy by comparison. Even the Tundra has these huge doors, and when you open it with the plastic handle, you're like, wow, there is not a whole lot to this door. It's super light, whereas this is a freaking tank by comparison. So nice, soft feel materials here. Again, it's not going to be anything you write home to mom about, I don't think. I was always kind of iffy about the wood trim in here, but now I've grown to love it because I think it's a part of what this is. It's the character of the vehicle at this point. More of that metal finish here, and actual metal handles, which you guys know, that's a plastic piece in the Tundra. The seats are so much more comfortable, so much softer than what you get in that soft text plastic leather within the 4Runner. But there's something to be said about the soft text material, just because it's super durable still, and you're not worried about getting it dirty. You just wipe it down easily. Same goes for this to some degree, but it is so much more plush and just a super comfortable seat. Of course, heated and cooled. You don't get that luxury in the other ones. Although I do think you get it in the 22 now, right? The Tundra. This system here is probably the biggest pitfall, if we're being honest, in my personal opinion, because it does require a lot of use of the integrated screen. I'll pop in there, start it up for fun. So this is another kind of cool aspect, a small cool aspect, just because you don't get this in a Tundra anymore. I guess I should say for up to 2021, they didn't have that. So here's the push to start. You guys know that, foot on the brake. There's the mileage on it. And I'm actually trying to keep it low for the time being right now, just so I'm not driving it too much around and I actually get that paint protection film on it with my luck. The next time I drive it, I'll get a giant rock chip right in the hood or something. So I'm purposely just driving the 4Runner for the time being. So within the actual system itself, especially climate control, right? So hitting climate over here, then you actually got to get in here, pop up the fan through the screen where you're getting fingerprints on it. I don't like the piano black material right here. You get fingerprints all over it. That's one thing I love about the 4Runner and the Tundra, and I will always put that higher than this, is how easy it is to use the actual integrated climate control system. Whereas, in the 4Runner and Tundra, get the giant knobs, and that's it. So you got your temp up and down right here of course, for each of the sides. So it's definitely nice, and a whole lot of venting throughout it. Air vents right there, and then in the rear you can kind of see it back there, right? So I do love that. Got your standard sunroof, which I personally thought if we had a bug attack, it's just a leaf. Personally, I'm not a huge, I don't care about sunroofs. I never have. It's never been like a thing for me. I know a lot of people are, though. They're like, oh, it has to have a sunroof. I love having a sunroof. But for me, it's never been a big issue. You let me know if you're one of those folks or not. Like in the Raptor, it has a giant pano sunroof, which is awesome. But if you've been a Raptor owner in the past, or if you know anything about Raptors, they tend to have a faulty something in them. The railing is faulty, at least it was previously in the Gen 2. I'm always nervous about something messing up on it, especially if you're off-roading it. If you're going fast off-road, going over bumps, I'd be worried that it would, mess it up. One cool thing I like about this over the Tundra and the 4Runner is you actually get a black headliner, a really nice felt material. I love that, and it's a shame they don't do that in the Tundra. Even the new 2022s, if I recall correctly, they have the tan ceilings, which is pretty strange. But plenty of room for the kiddos. Is it ideal? Is it bigger than the Tundra? No. This is always going to be a big plus up of the 2021 that I had. I will never find another vehicle with that much tremendous space in the back seat there. Granted, we'll of course eventually probably get a third row at some point. But as far as an SUV goes, I think this is as ideal as it gets, really. And I think we can easily make it work. We do make it work just fine. Not to mention, they're not always going to be in these giant kid seats, right? I mean, hopefully we'll be switching to a booster seat before we know it, and that'll be a little bit easier for fitting. You guys know this. You got the top part there is about 2 inches deep. Pull up the other one. Get this little, this is kind of weird. Get a little tray, plastic tray right there with a deeper, of course. On the non-heritage edition, you get the little cooler ice box down there, which I think that would have been really cool to have in this. But in theory, for this particular one, by deleting the, I'll keep it on, I'll step out. By deleting the third row for the heritage, they're technically leaving your room in the back to, you know, install a little mini ice cooler or something like that, is what I've heard. Which I don't know how many people truly do that, but that's what they say. This is what we're looking at. Obviously, my youngest, my baby, is in a click-in here. This is where the 5-year-old sits, and you know, the 3-year-old's over there on the far side, rear-facing. So not ideal per se. I shouldn't even say it like that. I mean, this is great, right? This is better than most SUVs by a long shot, really. Better than the 4Runner, of course. And there's plenty of room up there for the passenger to sit. And this is backed up plenty over here. So you're not tight up front there, if that makes sense. So it is good, really good. And here's I always kind of have the Tundra always in the back of my mind when it comes to reviewing seat space in the back seats, but this really is good. And the most notable thing, as I mentioned before in previous videos, is a ton of headroom, and that's great. Even compared to the 4Runner, you know, the 4Runner like cuts off up here, whereas you can a ton more room. It's just a matter of, you know, having the side steps here or rock sliders to actually step on to be comfortable loading up the kiddos. So those are inbound. There's a door panel here. Again, nice material. We get that bronze stitching here for the Heritage Edition. I love that. You get it throughout the seats too, of course. And some little cargo netting. One of the coolest aspects of the Heritage Edition, you guys know this, and forgive me guys if you're a regular on the channel, but you've seen this 100 times, but I love the fact that it has the classic Toyota Land Cruiser badging. The slowest rear hatch in the history of time. You back up and you wait forever for it to kick up. I'll zoom back in a little bit here. And this is an electronic release. I always love watching people review these things. They'll yank on this and just pull it. You know, you bop it. It's released now, and then you kick it back if you want. Got some cargo areas here. This gets overlooked all the time when people talk about this, but you know, of course, twist them and pull up. Little cargo spot there, and same for the other side there, of course. But plenty of space back here. Ton of space. You get the rear hatch, your cover for if you have groceries or anything back here that you can pull over. But yeah. Biggest thing is just a ton of headroom and awesome visibility throughout it, and that is maybe an indicator that I'm becoming an oldie, but I really appreciate all of the visibility, especially after having owned a Camaro ZL1 in my life. This is how you close it, of course. You pop that button. Having owned a ZL1, you really appreciate being able to see your surroundings. So super quiet. I mean, the vehicle's on right now, you know, but you get this very, very quiet exhaust system. There you go. I'm kind of tattling on myself. I didn't actually get a KO2 full spare, though I think one will fit there. I feel like the underside of these get very little attention, and they should get a lot more attention just given how robust every single component is underneath the Land Cruiser. And, you know, I made mention of it before in my videos. I always highlight, yeah, you know, the Tundra has the same exact 5.7 liter V8. I always kind of use that terminology, but this is, as you guys are quick to educate me, this is a very different 5.7 liter V8. This is, you know, manufactured in-house in Toyota's plant for this particular vehicle. You know, they make the Land Cruiser totally in their plant out there in Japan, which is awesome. There's a tremendous amount of attention to detail for absolutely everything. And there's videos out there on the internet, on YouTube, that actually show a direct comparison between the 5.7 liter V8 that's made in the US, that is put into the Tundra, compared to this. Every single component really is. Every component is much more robust and just bigger, and obviously designed for longevity by comparison. And even the US manufactured 5.7 liter V8 is phenomenal. We all know that. It's already proven. So the fact that this takes everything and one-ups it is pretty awesome, right? There's not many vehicles out there where, you know, they look, they feel great, they're fun to drive, and offer you this level of peace of mind to drive. There's very few out there. The Raptor that I'm picking up here on Friday, I'm not going to get that one bit. I'm probably going to have that in the shop multiple times between now and the next year if I truly keep it for a long time, right? Which I'm planning to. So that'll be a good comparison of modern technology, really just compared to the old ancient beast here. And I'm excited to kind of do those side-by-sides with you. So I think that's about all I wanted to talk through in this video, really. Like I mentioned, you know, I'll likely be throwing on some rock sliders here next, as well as the roof rack there. Thinking about Westcott, considered front runner as well. They look like they have a really nice roof rack. But yeah, like I said, I'm still kind of toying through those different options. But I guess I'll wrap up with, we'll see how this goes with the vehicle on. I'll crawl underneath it a little bit and kind of show you just kind of a look from underneath. And this right here, so that wasn't the best show from that side there, but here is a quick look at the key fob. Again, pretty simplistic, pretty basic, but at least you get some sort of design on it that's unique to the Land Cruiser, whereas you don't get that for any other Toyota, of course. But alright team, well, thank you for letting me geek out a little bit. I love this vehicle. I understand why people absolutely regret getting rid of them, as I've already kind of felt that and experienced it a couple times. And if you can believe it or not, I can prove it. I've already been offered 120 grand for it, 2 separate occasions now since having it. So the temptation is real, of course. You guys know me. I like to capitalize on opportunities to maybe make a couple dollars. But however, this really is one that I want to keep for a longer time, as I don't see the values of them ever dipping, at least dipping much in the coming years. So let me know what your thoughts are. Appreciate you watching. If you stuck it out this long, appreciate you sticking around. So until next time, guys. Bye.